He came home earlier than planned, the kind of early return that only grief and restlessness can provoke, carrying the quiet weight of a house that had never truly recovered from the loss of his wife, a house that echoed with money-earned comfort yet lacked warmth, and as he stepped through the doorway he expected silence, routine, control, but instead he froze, because there in the soft afternoon light sat the nanny, not startled, not ashamed, simply calm and protective, cradling his infant child with a gentleness that stopped time, feeding the baby in the most natural, selfless way, not out of obligation or scandal but out of care, because the baby had been crying inconsolably and nothing else had worked, and in that instant a storm of emotions rushed through him, shock, confusion, anger, fear, grief, jealousy, protectiveness, all colliding inside a man who had built empires by mastering chaos yet had never learned how to navigate the fragile needs of a newborn or the hollow ache of widowhood, and his first instinct was to retreat, to assert authority, to ask questions sharply, but something in the room disarmed him, perhaps the way his child relaxed, or the way the nanny's eyes carried neither defiance nor guilt but quiet resolve, and he realized that this moment was not about rules or appearances but about survival, love, and the unspoken truth that his wealth had failed to buy what his child needed most, and so instead of reacting, he listened, and listening became the turning point of his life, because the nanny explained softly, without drama, how the baby had refused bottles for days, how the nights had been endless, how she herself had recently lost her own child and still had milk, how she never intended to cross a line but could not watch a baby suffer when she had the means to help, and as her words unfolded he felt something crack inside him, a release of years of pent-up control and sorrow, because for the first time since his wife's death, someone had acted not out of contract or salary but out of raw human compassion, and he understood then that love sometimes arrives in forms that challenge comfort zones, and that being a father meant choosing humility over pride, empathy over image, and action over fear, and what he did next changed everything, because instead of firing her or condemning her, he sat down, thanked her, truly thanked her, and asked how he could do better, how he could be present, how he could rebuild a home that felt alive again, and in the weeks that followed he didn't just adjust schedules or hire consultants, he learned to hold his child properly, learned to wake up at night, learned to grieve openly, learned to listen, and the nanny didn't remain just an employee but became a bridge between the man he was and the father he needed to become, and slowly the mansion softened, laughter returned, routines gained warmth, and the baby thrived not because of money but because of connection, and the millionaire realized that the greatest legacy he could leave was not a fortune but a childhood rooted in care, courage, and humanity. And as this story reaches you, remember that sometimes the moments that shock us are invitations to grow, to see beyond judgment, to act with heart instead of ego, and if stories like this move you, inspire you, or remind you of what truly matters, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because every subscription supports more powerful stories that touch the soul, challenge perspectives, and remind us that real wealth is found in compassion, understanding, and the courage to change when it matters most.